But there is a quote that I wanted to start with, just for inspiration, and I got this from Alice Rogers, who is a former chair of the Conservative Caucus in Washington State, and she said, "The union has a responsibility to equally represent its members." So that will come up as a theme in our meeting today. And the other quote I love, and I've said it before, was from Jeff Kaufman months ago when he said, "We've been silent too long."
Even in the union perspective, it's okay to talk about the Conservative Caucus. I mean, I really think that it's just something we have to start saying out loud. And I know you just want to go to your job, do your work, go home. But right now, we have an entire agenda from an alternate side of the perspective that's strong-arming and intimidating. This is the way I look at it as a layperson. Strong-arming and intimidating those people who might come out and have a different view. And that's why they're afraid. If they weren't doing those things, they wouldn't be afraid to hold a certain perspective. So I think for me, as a candidate, somebody running for office, I guess what I'm trying to impart is I see the value in American workers. I see the value in unions. I see that there are a lot of things that need to change in DC from the congressional level. But I also just wanted to kind of share with you a little bit of a message about making that human connection.
As I said earlier, most conservative members go to the union, do their job, and go home. A lot of us do the same thing. I don't like this. State doesn't know what they're talking about. Go home. They don't believe in unions or why it matters. You know, hey, I get a paycheck. I don't agree with what they do nationally or politically, so back with them. But what it found out is, if we don't get involved, these bills wouldn't have gone passed. You must get involved in the union, and we must use our voices. Because if we don't use our voices, only the other side will use their voices and we'll get drowned out. It's time for us to stand up and use our voice.
And that's really where we need to be, is engaging everyone and supporting those politicians that support us. We need to move away from being a partisan organization and move back to being a political organization that's there to support public employees. And you know, for folks that have said, yeah, you've worked in the sectors where you didn't have a union and where you have, and you know, because of the safety issues that we have, because of the retirement issues that we have, because of the benefit issues that we have, we can't expect that the government's going to take care of their employees. That's not the case, right? We have bad supervisors, we have bad managers, we have to have people to hold those folks accountable. So I'm all about having a healthy workplace, but we also need to make sure that we're, you know, getting the people in there into politics that are going to support us, and that we're being fiscally responsible with the, you know, with the government's money. And those are things that the union is supportive of.
One of the chairs that I had the pleasure of working with, who has recently passed, Tim Hughes, he used to say, in his Tim way, Bill, you'll appreciate this, but he used to say, you know, I didn't like the way things were being run, so I showed up. And this is as he was chair, had the gavel. So I showed up. If you don't like the way I run things, you show up. And so that was the challenge to those in the room. If you don't like it, show up. You have to be willing to be the person to take a trip to the mic to say, hey, we're deviating from the stated goals and the stated mission. But you have to be willing to be that person to really steer the local, steer the council back on track, to really focus on these lunchbox issues if that's what you choose to do.
And so I grew up with a father that taught me that a lot about folks and people's opinions. And as I got older in life, we started to talk about politics. And he would tell me all the time, Republicans don't always lie, and Democrats don't always tell the truth. And that was my perspective that I grew up with. That if you look at the content of what people say, and you look at their principles, then that's the best way to judge a person. I mean, when we talk about politics, local politics are far more impacting to us and our jobs than what's going on in the national. So when you have folks that are actually passing bills that actually impact people's lives and families, that's not done in Washington DC. That's done at his state capitol. So that's what this caucus is about, is empowering us to make changes locally, where we can affect change.